Hello, it's your boy. It's been a week since my last video. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling slightly anxious and depressed today, but I want to make this video. I'm gonna power through. So my last video was, can I steal like an artist and make an EP in a week? And that's what I've been doing this week. And I have not successfully made an EP. That was kind of a wild goal, considering I'm such a beginner. But I tried my best, and I learned a lot. And yeah, this video will be talking about that and showing the terrible songs that I made. I thought I'd start with a bit of an intro of like, why am I doing this at all? And yeah, really with this channel, I think in my dream scenario, like a year from now, I've done like a weekly creativity music challenge and just improved a lot and learnt loads and can actually make good stuff. And then I'll be able to look back on videos like this and be like, whoa, I really sucked back then, but like cool that I documented it. Because I totally have a story in my head that all the artists I love have just always been really great. And then it's really refreshing actually to go and listen to their early stuff. Like Joe, before he was Joe, was a solo artist called Cool Cool Cool, and the stuff's like a lot more average than he would become. Bon Iver is a similar thing. He was like just Justin Vernon, and people don't find their sound immediately. It's completely fine, but I like just need to remember this. So I think this is like a fun process. So yeah, even though in a way it's kind of embarrassing to share my current level of skill, I think it's kind of an important thing too, because hopefully I will improve a lot, and then it'll be like, oh cool, he was terrible at the beginning, like maybe I can also improve, and it'll just be a good time. And like a brief kind of excursus, I think that's a word, on what I'm calling Malfoy mode versus Lunar mode, which is basically, it's kind of the same as Ira Glass's The Gap, but it's like, I have a pretty good critical ear. Like I've listened to music for many, many years. I know what I love and what I hate and what like works in my eyes and doesn't. So I'm pretty good on that regard, and I can go to like a local gig and be like, this band isn't that good, and I think it's because of these reasons. So I don't have the most refined like terminology and stuff. I can't fully diagnose stuff, but yeah, I have a good sense. And then I've been thinking about that, and then like Lunar mode, like which I see as just being self-compassionate and creative and just having fun making stuff, and kind of turning off Malfoy mode, which is like critical and kind of mean, and just enjoying having fun. And my Lunar mode is terrible. It's like a 0 0.1 out of 10. And that was the first 2 days of this challenge were just like really, really struggling to just like have a good time, just feeling terrible. Like they were actually pretty goddamn depressing days. So I was just like, man, I am terrible at this. This is really painful and I'm probably going to die. So I think I've said this in a video already, but it does feel like this skill is just like continuing to show up and power through, even though your Malfoy mode is much more advanced than your Lunar mode. Just like, I know my stuff is terrible, but I just have to keep trying and I will improve. And the trick is just not to quit. So yeah, this is like challenge 1 or 2 if you count the 23 songs I made. So of course, like I'm pretty bad right now, but it's fine. There's still some stuff that I kind of like from this week. And yeah, there's this tweet I really like, which is like, what are you not doing because of the unpleasantness of the first 100 hours? Which is so true, because like Ableton, when you first start out, is so overwhelming, and trying to make anything is like this incredibly high friction thing. You don't know what any of the buttons do, and it's just horrible. And now I'm like competent in Ableton and can slap stuff together. So I have like technical competency in that tool, but I have not spent many hours at all trying to make my own stuff. So I'm really bad at it. But maybe just 100 hours of like trying to write lyrics and like make song structures that aren't like super rigid and boring. Yeah, a lot of good stuff could happen, hopefully. Speaking of the unpleasantness of the first 100 hours, man, day 1 and 2 sucked in this challenge. It was so horrible. I had a terrible time. I think that's the power of challenges like this too, is you have a bit of accountability, and it's like a container. It's like, okay, no worries. Like there's a new day tomorrow. I'm going to continue. I've like committed to this. But yeah, it was not a fun time. So day 1, I had seen some advice that was like, to steal like an artist, you can just take something and tweak it by 8% or 20%, and that's kind of enough. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And I picked a song that I really love, like one of my probably top 5 songs, Desire by Ort, and was just like, okay, I guess I'll tweak it 20%. I'll like try and keep it mostly the same, tweak little bits. And then I think I just found that is terrible advice, or it just didn't work in this case. I now have this theory of like statues, like a finished song is like a work of art, and it's like a statue, like a really great sculpture. And the fact that it's a song I love, and like hundreds of thousands of people have listened to, means that it must be like one of the best statues in the world. Like this is not amateur shit. This is like kind of the best of the best, made by a whole band and a producer, and it's just like this incredible work, like really finely sculptured marble, like Italian marble. They had great tools, and it's just very intentional. And then like, I don't think it's very realistic for me just to come fumbling along with my like terrible tool set, like really coarse, shitty, and just be like, oh, I guess I can take this incredible statue and just like tweak some things. Let me just like change the nose a bit and like just move things around, and I'm sure I'll be able to retain the beauty of the original work and just make it my own. I think that's really, really difficult to do, and just like a terrible idea. Yeah, another analogy could be like a really amazing song is like a tower of cards, and it's all like all the different pieces have been picked very carefully, and they work together into this like holistic kind of gestalt thing. And you can't just come along and be like, oh, let me just like tweak one of the cards a little bit, because it could just make everything crumble, which is what Day One was to me. It was just trying to recreate and tweak a song I love, and it just like... it just didn't go that well. So my new working theory is like, instead of getting one statue that you love and trying to tweak it a bit and make it your own, if you're currently like a total beginner, which I am, with no real skills and like no hours put into this thing, I think actually the thing to do is to take like 5 statues and just blow them up. Just smash them to pieces, and then you can like grab bits of the rubble and assemble something new, and it'll be like this weird ass messy statue, but it will be something new and interesting. And if you like pretty much just steal things kind of without changing them much, then the song is guaranteed to have nice elements, because it's like, yeah, you just get to rob like people's good ideas who have a lot more skill than you. So Day One was taking this up, which is like a single chord that is just played throughout, and it just loops, and it sounds really nice. So I was like, oh, I know what I can do to tweak it. I'll like make the chord change, and then there'll be some progression. It just didn't sound as good. It just didn't work, and I didn't really get anywhere. So this is the ARP from Desire that I wanted to change 20%. It's really great, and it just stays like that throughout the entire intro of the song. So yeah, I was like, I'll take it. I'll try and recreate the sound fairly closely, but I'll just have the chords change. And then I just like hummed over the top, trying to find a vocal melody to potentially sing. And yeah, I think in retrospect, there is something there. It does sound quite nice. But yeah, that's just not the kind of thing that I will make, I think. Like it just sounds sweet and big hearted and like hopeful and yearning. I don't know. It's just like, I don't listen to that and be like, oh yeah, this is the kind of thing I want to write lyrics for. It doesn't feel like me. So that's really useful to know. So then Day Two, I was like, okay, maybe I need to like, explode the songs and kind of rearrange the rubble. So I tried like taking 2 songs now, Desire by Ort from Day One, and then How Simple by Hop Along, which is a song I really love. And I just thought, I'll like write out the lyrics that I really like with my typewriter onto like different pieces of paper, and then I'll like come up with my own like rewordings, like kind of change them, which again is kind of the tweaking approach. So in retrospect, it didn't work that well. But it was cool. It like gave me ideas. Like I like some of the rewrites. I don't know if I'll share this one because it's shit. But this is this is the ARP and vocal melody stolen from Desire by Ort, with kind of the lyrics from Desire by Ort and kind of the lyrics from How Simple. This is what I got after Day Two of like trying to do this intertextual thing of like changing the lyrics somewhat and making it my own thing.
I suppose one who hasn't seen the early phase would say I'm not thriving, but didn't I say to you not to reason that I'm in the stream and I know what I'm doing?
So it's just like a quick demo. It's like a first draft writing thing. So I know it's terrible, but I do really like How Simple starts with the line, I suppose one who hasn't seen the earlier phase would see I'm advancing up this road. Just like a nice poetic way to, I just really like that. So then I kind of flipped it a bit. And I mean, it's true, because this is on my mind, the kind of you know, at 28, I've moved back in with my mum. So it looks, you know, a family member or a friend could be like, oh, dude, you must be like depressed or something. That sounds terrible. Like, man, you're not doing well. But it's like, no, this is a conscious choice. And actually, I'd rather do this than like be working a job in a city. So yeah, I like the theme, but I suppose one who hasn't seen the earlier phase would say I'm not thriving. Like, thriving is icky. But then I really like, didn't I say to you not too recent, is just the opening line from, or so there's something cool here of just like taking chunks from songs and then just putting them in different places and making them your own. Like, even though I think the end result here isn't anything special, it's unlocked something in my brain of like, oh, this works. Like, this is actually really cool. Like, yeah, blow up the statues, take the chunks, and like, yeah, it's exciting. I think one of the big learnings here is maybe the tweaking of the statues approach could work. And actually, there's something else that I was doing wrong, which was, I think I've discovered that there's like this whole collection of music that you like, and then there's a smaller collection within that of like music that you could recreate of that's like in your voice. So I happen to just choose 2 songs, which I love a lot, but I think actually just aren't actually very me. And part of the reason I love them is because they're like quite other from what I would write. Continuing the Harry Potter analogy, they're both very like Hufflepuff songs, I'd say. They're very like big-hearted, compassionate, sweet, loving. And I have those elements in me, but they're not like the top elements. That's not like my voice and what I go to. So yeah, trying to write that stuff, which I often will go to that, like, oh yeah, I love sincere songs, so I guess I'll try and do that too. I just can't do it. It's just not me. I think my voice is probably more going to be like silly or like kind of sarcastic or something, or just like, yeah, kind of goofy, and not these sincere, big-hearted things, because that's just not like a mode I'm in very often. It just feels really terrible when I try and force it. So, like, even though so far all I've done is say that I'm terrible, that was a really big learning. It was like, oh, amazing. Yeah, I may love songs, and I may love them because they're very much something that I couldn't make. Like, that's cool. And that'll save a lot of time in the future now. It's like, I won't even try and recreate some big-hearted, earnest song. Okay, I feel like I've just had that learning of, this just doesn't work for me at the moment. Let's just like leave that behind. So that was day 1 and 2. So then I was like, okay, day 3, I just need to I need to have fun. This has been grindy and awful, and like, I just feel terrible about myself and my artistic abilities. Yeah, and maybe it's just because I'm going in the wrong direction. I'm like trying to make stuff that's not me. So let's just scrap it. And the good news is it worked. And by the end of day 3, I was like, holy shit, I feel like I can call myself an artist now, which is really like hyperbolic, but it did feel like, oh, I've unlocked stealing like an artist. The song I made, I actually really liked. And it was very exciting. So then, yeah, I was like, I want to make a fun song. So let me just quickly find a fun drum beat. So I went to Joe's Album Decide, which I really like. Actually, no, I love it. It's 10 out of 10. Just a really simple drum beat from the song, which is like very high energy and just exciting. And weirdly, it doesn't change at all throughout the 2-minute song. That's been a cool thing I've learned from this journey so far, is like drums don't have to be elaborate, and they can still provide a lot of energy. It's really good. So it's a really simple drum beat. Yeah, so I just had that, and I just had it on loop and was like, okay, cool. Like what would go with this? Like, kind of going through my brain, hearing songs and being like, oh, this, yeah, sounds kind of similar to this Bombay Bicycle Club riff from their first album. Which I think is identical to a riff from Car Seat Headrest album Teams of Denial. So that's another cool thing of like, oh, cool, these 2 bands use this exact same like chord progression and sound like probably 10 years apart, and no one's, accusing one of stealing from the other. So I kind of like that, but it was just like, this sounds identical to the original song. So like, and I don't know, it's not making me feel too inspired. So let me try something else. So I tried this, the riff from California Waiting from Kings of Leon's first EP, like before their album came out, because the album has a version of California Waiting, but the EP version is better. I just really liked it and was just like, okay, cool, I'm going to use this. And then I made my own guitar riff, like, to go over it, and it sounded really good. And I'm pretty sure this is an original riff, like, I just was noodling, and I really like it. So then I was just like, oh, wow, 2 of these elements are completely stolen, but, like, the riff on top, this is now kind of a new thing, and it sounds cool. Yeah, this really changed my mood a lot. It was just like, oh, cool, this is like something fun that I actually am enjoying having on loop and listening to and like imagining extra elements to add. So that was like a huge thing. And then I was like, okay, now I need to steal a vocal melody / like lyric. And I remembered this one from Indigo de Souza. So I ripped it off, but I did like a cool intertextual thing of her version is like, when are you going to get out of bed like everyone else does? When are you going to get a normal head? When are you going to find a better man? So I just flipped it. Instead of it being her talking to herself, it's like someone talking to me, being like, when are you going to get a normal job? When are you going to start saving up? So it's like barely a rewrite, but it's just cool that you can kind of flip it. And then it's like, oh, cool. Now it's kind of my version. And it's still like very similar, but it's like an exciting new thing. So that was really cool. So I'm going to just play the whole song. It's like 2 minutes and it's very like first draft-y. Some of the vocals are just me figuring it out as I sing. So there's like real laughter in there, which I quite liked. It is quite spontaneous and like true rather than like a recreation. But like I have my Invisalign in at various points and you can hear like my mouth is kind of sticky and it's just like, it's amateurish, it's silly, it's like, it's a demo. So basically like, I know it's kind of shit, but I also think it's kind of charming in its like rawness, I guess. So I wanted to keep it as is. And yeah, so it's the drums from Joe, it's the guitar chords from Kings of Leon, and the vocals, original lyrics, but heavily inspired by Indigo de Souza, and the vocal melody is basically exactly the same as well. So yeah, a total Frankenstein ripoff, but it's cool and I like it.
When are you gonna get a normal job like everybody else does? When are you gonna start saving up like everybody else does? Shouldn't you live in the city like everybody else does? Shack up with someone pretty like everybody else does.
Look, your concerns are valid. I know it looks like I've gone insane, but
for better or worse, the shit I gotta do first. For better or worse, the stuff I gotta do first. When are you gonna get a normal job? I've had a normal job for 10 years and it didn't like it. When are you gonna start saving up? I've had a lot of savings before and it didn't make a difference. Shouldn't you live in the city? I've lived in London 3 times, I don't give a shit, dude. Shack up with someone pretty. I can't date someone when the rest of my life is in shambles. I know moving back in with my mum looks like I've regressed massively, but just trust me, I'm at my cutting edge. For better or worse, the stuff I gotta do first. For better or worse, stuff I gotta do first. For better or worse, the stuff I gotta do first. For better or worse, stuff I gotta do first.
And this is the original vocal from Indigo de Souza. Like the melody is slightly different. I did change it a bit. And yeah, it's like, it's her talking to herself rather than someone talking to me. My phone ran out of storage and I lost 10 minutes of me talking. So I've now had like a 2-hour break when I've been editing this video. And you know what? This video is getting pretty long. I've rambled on, so I'm going to power through the last couple. Let's go. Okay, real quick. I tried taking a garbage truck from the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack and changing it and making it fun. I don't really like what came out of it. Like, it's not something that I would want to sing over or add to, but it's a cool little case study in like changing the BPM and the guitar tone and it just sounding like a different thing, and instead of strumming it, like finger picking it. So I'm just gonna play. It's cool and different, but I don't know, it kind of sounds like Red Hot Chili Peppers or something. It sounds a little sleazy and a little like, this isn't something I would want to sing over, but it's cool. Also, a fun thing was I added a guitar riff from the Scott Pilgrim video game to this Garbage Truck ripoff. So that was just like a fun, nerdy thing of like combining the two soundtracks in a new way. So that was exciting.
Oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing, but I guess I can find a melody that works. This works surprisingly well. What's going on, dude? What's going on? Why does this work so well? What the hell? Why is this easy to sing over, dude? Bow, 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 bow.
Okay, and then I was like, I want an album opener. I want something that's like, I don't know what the first song should be, but I think the Kings of Leon and Indigo to Souza song should be the last one because it sounds quite like triumphant and cool. So I just like picked Candy May, which is the first song on Alex Cameron's album Force Witness, and was like, okay, I'll steal the BPM and the drum beat from this. It sounds kind of cool, but like I didn't do much with it. I ran out of time, but it's kind of a nice little thing. I also tried I was like, okay, I want to make more fun songs. So the riff from Geese's, I think it's Cowboy Nudes, is fun and cool. So maybe I'll just steal that. I think the problem with this was it's like stealing the most in your face and catchy element from a song feels tricky because it's like, it's all I can hear is the original song. Whereas I think if you steal like a more subtle chord progression, then it's easy to build something on top of it. Whereas this is very in your face. So I was just like, okay, this was a bad idea. So, new learning. And then the final song, like another one that I actually quite like. It's pretty much just a rip-off of Break by Fazerdaze. Like the chorus is the same and the chord progression, I think. And I combined it with Cheekface's drums. So this actually sounds really good, but it's very stolen. It's not, I didn't really turn it into its own thing. So that's the main reason it sounds really good. But it's cool. I can imagine like adding to this and changing it. And there are different elements that I made, like the little intro thing and that guitar riff that plays throughout and stuff. Yeah, I think maybe next week's challenge will be like, can I make one or maybe two songs that I really like? Because I think this is I didn't have enough time to take the chorus of Break and change it and like add new words or a new melody. So I'm kind of just singing it as like a placeholder. So I'd really like to return to this and turn it into something because it sounds pretty cool. So that was my week. I feel like this was really productive in a way because it is really shown. I now feel like there's just a true abundance of music that I love and like have listened to. And this just shows that you can combine little elements and rearrange stuff, rewrite lyrics, like have conversation with other songs. I've definitely heard something which is like every book written is like a conversation with other books that the author like loves and was inspired by, and like poems and stuff. So this really feels actually like, despite the results being pretty mid, it feels really mind-blowing in a way because it's like I thought that you have to be truly original and you have to just do everything from scratch. And that's so daunting and horrifying when you're like a beginner. So yeah, this just feels really like now there's just an abundance of things to remix and slightly steal subtly and combine and like have a conversation with. It's just like, whoa, okay, this is awesome. So this feels like a weird video because it took me a whole week to do this challenge, and like, I don't know, I'm not that thrilled with the results, but there's a lot of like invisible learning that I've done, I guess, that it's hard to show in the video, but it's just like, oh, I'm excited for the next thing. I don't know what the next thing will be, but it might be like, yeah, can I make one or two songs that I really love? That would be cool. So yeah, I don't know, this is a weird video. It's like pretty self-indulgent, but you know, as I've said before, that's kind of the point of this channel at the moment. It is just me documenting my process rather than, because there's a bit of a voice in my head that's like I should be making really tightly edited like 8-minute videos that are really useful and educational and shit, but it's just like, that's just not me, dude. I'm figuring this stuff out. So there we go. If you watched to the end, thanks a lot. Yeah, this just feels like such a cool thing, like this feedback loop of like, I can do a challenge for a week, learn a whole bunch, ramble about it, then do another challenge, and like hopefully just keep improving at being able to make stuff. It just feels like, yeah, it feels really exciting, and like surely this is going to lead to good stuff. So I'm hyped. Yeah, cool. Okay, bye.